Many atheists will not say that God exists or doesn't exist. What they say is that there's not enough compelling evidence to convince them that a God exists. This is kind of a mind game they like to play, so that you can't get them in the corner and have that aha moment. That's why they don't say, God does not exist, but rather they say, there's just not enough evidence to claim he does or doesn't exist. This allows them to move the goalpost according to the conversation and how it's going and the points you're making. Because they know that your standpoint is that God absolutely exists and therefore you have no evidence to stand on. Because many atheists were Christian, they happen to know that most Christians believe God is a literal actual man up in heaven somewhere. And for that, there's just no evidence of, and they know this. That's why I always say it depends on how you define God. If you tell an atheist that God is a man up in heaven somewhere, you have absolutely no argument, no evidence for this other than you believe it. And we all know just because we believe something doesn't make it true. That's why I think the best definition for God is something like universal consciousness or light. You could even think of God as empty space, the substance that is in everything. It's in everything and it's outside of everything. It's a universal totality of everything. This kind of argument annoys atheists because they can't really argue with it. The only thing they can say is, well, why are you calling it God? It's already got a name. It's called consciousness or light or empty space, whatever you want to use. Why are you calling it God? When in actuality, God was first. Whatever you consider the source of all existence was first. It was called God long before the term universal consciousness or empty space, dark space, any of the scientific lingo came along. It was always just God, source, whatever you want to call it. So in actuality, science is what came along later on and changed God into things like universal consciousness. They gave it other titles like empty space, dark matter, all of these things that are unexplainable. What about the Big Bang? What do scientists consider the Big Bang? They consider it the source of all existence, the very beginning, the unknown portal from which all creation came into existence. It annoys atheists that we call something like light or consciousness or source God. They demand you use the scientific terms that have been given to what was once